All right, time for the millionaire's mind. And as they would say, communication is key in any venture that you want to venture in anything, including, that sort of sacred setup of marriage. They say it's always important that you communicate, so at least things do not move, in a direction that you do not want them to. And today we're all about communication, but this time around, a special eye on communication, because then it's in regards to matters of business. And we want to know, how best can you make the best of your business entity by ensuring that you have proper communication, sort of skills, proper, of course, figures who are properly trained in matters communication. And that way you get to fruition, because in the event that you do not have a proper setup of communication, then you lose out from the word go. So welcome on board. As always, it's a millionaire's mind. It's just fresh here still, and yes, we promise that we're going to bring so much so in regards to ensuring that you make the best of your business, the best of matters finances, the best of the economy, as we always say. So today we have a specialist, or better yet, Dr. Maloba Wekesa, who's going to be taking us through the essence of communication, importance of it, and how best you can set up your communication skills to the standard of ensuring that you're going to be that figure that is going to transform that particular company. My name is Linda Alela, and always right here is the Millionaire's Mind, and we kick off. And Dr. Ari, good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Yes, we're just having a conversation with Doc before we started the show. He was like, yo, a couple of times I've found myself on TV, but many a times I'm addressing, sort of terrible issues, or you're just reacting to issues to do with strike and all that. But today, at least, is a little bit different. We want to tap to your knowledge as much as we can.
Thank you.
And that's the reason why we're here this time. And I think I'll go straight to this aspect, the essence of communication, every time that we're talking about business. And I'll tweak it a bit by asking this: why is business communication pretty much important, and what traits are important for a skilled business communicator?
Thank you very much. Now, when you talk about any business, the centrality of the success of any business has to be zeroed in on how well you are communicating. And if you ask that question, what is the central, most important factor that business communication does to any business, then you get into the heart even of finding out what exactly it is. Okay. But more importantly, let me just try and give probably a quick outlay of what, in my view, finds more important issues about what business communication should bring on board in any successful business. Number one, think about productivity. If you want to increase productivity in any firm, it means that people are collaborating, people are talking to each other.
Right.
It also means that staff members are actually in a sort of teamwork. And to promote that understanding between one colleague and another, so that you synergize and are able to bring on board the best in productivity, means that the communication has to be there. And effective communication within an organization actually involves listening to staff.
Right.
You just mentioned that this whole idea about the strike issues, and I know, being a unionist,
right,
it features very much. And sometimes when you're not listening to staff, the government is the one which is the employer.
Right.
It's not listening to staff. Then
eventually
it affects productivity. So the first most important, you want to increase productivity, have very effective communication within staff. And you will accomplish any task fast and effectively. It's not just about even the pace by which this is going to happen. No, it has to do with how quickly do you want to dispense with whatever that you are doing. And you will find yourself in a situation where every person who is supposed to accomplish a task must be talking to another person who brings on board a different view or opinion. Number two, you want to grow a customer base.
Right.
What do? You have to communicate.
Yeah.
Now, you see, the whole idea about the lifeblood of a business has to do with the customers that are coming on board. Now, to get customers on board means that you are talking to them and you are actually passing across a message that brings trust to them about what kind of business that you are engaging in. So growing a customer base, which is the lifeblood of a business, means that you are talking and you are communicating to a business. And you see, that is both internally and externally, which goes back to the first point, which was productivity. So the thing is this, think about a marketing plan. When you want to enact a marketing plan, the only way that marketing plan is actually going to succeed is because there is a certain component of business that is central to its drive. And it's not just marketing. Think about public relations, because there are some companies which don't need marketing, they need PR. And the only way you're going to succeed is if communication is actually also successful. Think about how you're building an image within a community, because this has to do with the customer base. Either marketing, either PR, and all this. Knowing your clients' characteristics means that you have talked to them, you have understood that they are actually coming on board with specific agendas which you are addressing. And connecting even with these customers so that in a long term, they're able to view your company as one which they can also invest in is a component within communication. Number 3, business partnerships. There is no business that can grow without partnerships. And partnerships right from the immediate publics who are now your customers, partnerships with the government, partnerships with even other competitors within the same business environment. Now, to have these business partnerships means that you are effectively communicating with those who are required so. And you'll need to form alliances. Even politicians do form alliances. You see that? Although, of course, we are not looking at politics as a consequence of a business environment. But you see, you must build partnerships. So right now, the word going around is about the handshake. Why?
The BBI and all.
Communication. You see that? Now, you build these partnerships, you build these alliances, and you make sure that they are effective in the relation of every business venture that you are engaging in. And significantly, you will actually find yourself increasing the output, which now goes back to the first point, which was productivity. See that? Number 4. How do you facilitate business innovation? Business innovation is because you are also in touch with various business partners and clientele. And sometimes even you can be thinking about the people who are coming up and joining the market. Innovation is about people talking back to the person who has produced a certain product. Look at it, for instance, in the mobile industry. The very fact that we are having apps coming up every other day is a consequence of innovation, but it's a consequence of actually interacting with the customer who is actually dealing with the mobile phone. The more I am actually interacting with it, then I find maybe doing this is a little cumbersome. I need to do a little different.
And on that note, Dr. allow me to ask this, that would couple up with the same, because then there's the essence of, just getting the elements of effective communication right. And this is where a majority of people would go wrong. You'd say at the end of the day, you're communicating, but are you sure it is effective enough? Are you sure that you've taken the right elements towards communication or to communicating to something that will eventually sort of drive you or get you to the goal, the ultimate goal? Because yes, you can communicate at the end of the day, but then, you hear someone tells you now that was wrong. That communication or that aspect was not what could have driven you to the ultimate goal.
Ideally, what you're asking has to do with a different segment where we refer to as communication competence. Now that's a little different from what I had just about completely discussed. But communication competence, and I can talk about that. Communication competence has to be, you think about it like this entirely, by the way. Entirely, you think about it like, Supposing I was the one listening, would I have gotten this message in the same way that I am actually putting it across?
Okay.
And you see, if you ask yourself that question, then you answer what competence has to be all about. Because if the message I have is delivered in the same manner that I know, then it has been competently passed out. Yes. But therein lies the matrix which sometimes makes it very difficult for people to get over. I know of ads for products, which if they are screened in certain audiences, they will totally be messed up. There's always this conundrum. Yes, someone was giving out a joke about this salesperson who went to Saudi Arabia to sell a soft drink.
Okay.
Right? And he outlined it that, you know, using pictorials. In the first picture, this person is running in a desert. In the next picture, he has fallen down. All right? Then in the next picture, he's taking this soft drink.
And woo energy.
Yes.
Finally.
You see that?
Yeah.
Now, the conundrum is, supposing you went to a country which reads from back to forth, instead of from the front to the... You see that?
So the drink has fallen officially, has
so you see, it means that this fella, after taking that drink, that's when he collapses.
Yeah.
But you see, communication competence, that's exactly it. Do you know your audience first?
So it has to start from the base, the level.
You must start with that person. Do you know him? Do you know his attributes? Do you know his what are his likes?
Right.
And in that, we actually now go back to something called principles of persuasion, where you look at where is his latitude of rejection, and where is his latitude of acceptance, so that you can only straddle in between the latitude of non-commitment. And that is where the entry point would be. And that's exactly what competence would be all about. And I also tend to think sometimes it is all about a culture of a people. I know I travel sometimes to Europe and I see some commercials in on TV. They can never be screened here in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes, we have a very conservative audience. They are not comfortable receiving certain information, especially very bluntly. Okay? You have to measure out, is this going to be accepted to them? I remember we had a very difficult time, even on TV, trying to screen commercials for women's products, especially contraceptives. It's very difficult. What time do you do it? Do you do it at prime time? That's the time people are having their meals. That's the time people are sitting with their kids. What do you do? How do you run it? And you see, any fault in delivery of that message can compromise the product. And that's the whole idea about competence. Yes.
Okay, so that's an interesting view, and of course that was supposed to be my next question in regards to how much, of course, the social media then is creeping in to change the face of business as it stands today. But I think there's still so much that we can talk in regards to that, because everyone today says that, you know what, I no longer have a shop, a physical location where you can come to get my stuff. You just say, and on social media we'll get it to your destination. As we overlook the essence of some of these important key things in line with business, because then we all understand the essence of having a physical setup. We all understand of the essence of people coming to the shop and, you know, getting to shop and get the best thing, because sometimes you say this could look good on you, but probably upon delivery it is a totally different affair to the next person who's going to buy it. So as social media cripples in or comes in, how then does it come to change the face to the negative and equally the positive?
Well, this question I think I would have liked to answer by thinking about it this way. And now that social media is here, how is it changing the face of business communication? Yes. And it's a lot. Let me try and maybe look at 6 different ways. Number 1, social media has created an interactive virtual dialogue. All right? An interactive virtual dialogue between customers, who are the drivers of business, by the way. And the business itself. Now, if you are interacting with these people virtually, it's a new platform. Being a new platform means that you will need new people who can be able to do this. That brings me to number 2, that since you already have a virtual and interactive forum, you have created new jobs.
Nice.
Between, I think, the years 2000, when social media had not come in, if someone told you, my work is a social influencer,
I know you'd be like,
no one would say that's a job.
Yeah.
All right? Online editors, who would even think about? Right now, we have standby people who are actually maintaining social media platforms and social media handles for
And
the media
driving the
organization. So number 2, it has actually created new jobs.
Right.
Number 3, potentially, it has also increased the volume of the public that you are interacting with. The moment you open up a website, it's worldwide.
Right.
You see that? Now, even if you say, my organization is only based here in Kenya and my clients are all here, the moment you have a website, you can get an order from South America.
Right.
So you have a new public. Now, if you have a new public, that means you have to find a way of interacting with
them.
But with the bigger public, which brings now number 4, risks.
Okay.
There's always the potential risk. And that risk has to do with how you're handling that business. You will never know who you are infringing upon.
Right. So you have to...
The moment you have gone worldwide, the potential risk is not just in your business as you're doing it.
Yes.
There can be someone out there angling also to copy paste what you're doing, and start doing it also. So the risk is that you have also opened up for scrutiny, which is number 5. Yes. Now, with that scrutiny, means that the only way you're going to survive is to ensure that your product is always up to task. All right?
Yes.
That you are always going to be the best. And if you are not, you are going to be killed, because word moves so quickly. The moment your product fails like that, and these days we can see that car manufacturers are actually facing that. You produce this car, you release it to this market, it gets into a problem. The first thing,
on the very same platform,
people go online and start murdering that company, saying, you know what, the heck with this company. This company is actually giving us the most useless products.
Right.
So, recall. For credibility, you recall it. You see that? And once you start recalling that, again, you create now the 6th thing. Social media is an avenue for viral content.
Okay.
Now, viral content is very difficult to contain. You don't know where it is going to mutate to. You have a very well-meaning organization. It makes one mistake.
In a blink
the viral content kicks in, and that's it.
Right.
So those 6 potential things are actually changing the face of business. I wouldn't want to go into the specific details, especially with companies. But more importantly, you have to know that because social media is here with us, we have to reckon with it. That means we have to take these potential hazards that it can actually portend to a business, and then keep changing the environment so that we can be able to be contained within it.
All right, stay woke, stay updated. Thank you so much, Dr. That was extensive for sure, and we're looking forward to have more sessions with you so that we get to learn this more and more, because like we rightfully put it all, like we rightfully say, there's so much into the aspect of business communication that probably is important for you to get to learn, so that moving forward you make the best of your business. Remember, it's always about making the best of what you've started. I mean, the businesses are out here, but how you handle them is what will determine how you stand out, you know, in regards to your competitors, or in regards to what actually the market has to offer. So we cross over to matters quick fire, and then we'll be coming back to round up on it. Some months have 30 days, others have 31 days, but how many have 28 days?
Well, there's only 12 of them. Each one has 28 days. Wow! Yeah.
What has a head, a tail, but does not have a body?
What has a head,
a tail, but does not have a body?
Well, a head, a tail.
Nobody.
And nobody.
Yes.
Well, you have just answered it.
No, I have not.
Nobody.
No.
I don't know.
You don't?
No.
Try harder.
This
This is one that I would have been sure you'd get.
Yes. Okay. All right.
All right, 3,
Yeah.
yeah? How could a man go out in the pouring rain without protection and not have a hair of his head get wet?
No, please don't make me answer that. If you make me answer that, it's not going to be parentally accepted by
I am making
audiences.
you answer that.
If I say it,
Say it.
I'm actually going to be in trouble.
Oh, really?
Yes, my kids are watching.
The answer is pretty... You want me to say it for you?
Please do, but I can also say it for myself, and
Yeah,
I'll say something.
that's a polite way
weird.
of telling me, well, I don't know, pass the question.
Oh,
Yes. If you have a bowl of 6 apples, right? And you take away 4, how many do you have?
no, wait a moment. This is actually something which I don't like answering
not
because
very-
it actually has to. You have a bowl of 6 apples.
Yes.
All right? So it's a singular bowl with 6 apples in
Yes,
it.
it is.
That looks very straightforward because then it means that you'll have 2 remaining, isn't it?
Yes, but then that is not the answer.
Of course it's not, because
isn't.
how many bowls then are you actually talking about?
All right, let me give you the answer so then you see the essence of
Yes.
it.
So you're still holding the 4.
Yeah, you're holding the 4. The others are on the bowl, so...
You got me again.
All right, yes.
All right.
If a plane crashes between United States and Canada, where do you bury the
Are
survivors?
there any bodies to bury?
Thank you. No, you lost
They are
it
not
because
there, you
yeah,
see.
so you lost it in the first instance. Thank
All
you,
right.
Doc. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Doc, clearly you're not a quick fire person, so I'll bring you back to your line, and we wind up with this very pertinent question
Yes.
about Linda, about anybody else who would be interested in becoming, a skilled communicator. Like, what is expected of me? What do I do? Where do I pick up from to become this one person who, can communicate at least and sell, that bottle of water?
Number 1, project confidence. There is nothing as bad as looking doubtful with what you're saying.
Yeah.
The moment you're not confident, the whole enterprise of communication collapses. Number 2, know when not to speak. Not when to speak, when not to speak.
Okay.
All right? You want to be a good communicator? Know when not to speak. That means, when do you shut up? So that you just let something actually be understood. All right?
Right.
Number 3, active listening. The moment you are not an active listener, you will never communicate, because that means that you do not project what is expected about the person who you are communicating to. The moment you actively listen, that means you will succeed.
Right.
And number 4, which I only want to close there, recognize the barriers. What are the barriers to communication? Do you know them? And can you overcome them? The moment you can, then you definitely are going to be a brilliant communicator.
Amazing. I'm sure you must be asking yourself, I wish I had a pen and paper to note those ones down. But thankfully, I have Dictari with me, so I'll have the honor of getting them all the same. But for you, in the event that you sort of feel like, yes, that was key, and you would have wanted to note them down, and you probably feel Dictari was pretty much first, and you did not grasp that, or maybe you did not expect that he would wind up just like that, not to worry. We have, of course, this ongoing on our YouTube page. You can proceed there and get all these key tips that Dictari has given us today in regards to proper business communication. Need I say more? It was great having you, Dictari. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Maloba Wekesa, it was very, very great. And I mean, we have picked so much. Looking forward to have you more. All right, right here on The Millionaire's Mind, I have to say asante sana also. My name is Linda Alela. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing as we wait and we long for the next episode of The Millionaire's Mind, even as you ponder on what Dictari has left us with.